said we should all sit down and talk calmly inside. Dad's breathing changed. It got fast and shallow. I could see his chest moving too quick. His eyes had this unfocused look that I recognized from the hospital. He was starting to spiral. I made the choice right there. We came here to let them know we weren't going away. That message got delivered. I touched Dad's arm and said we were leaving. He nodded but didn't say anything. We turned and walked back to the car. I could feel Mom and Mark watching us from the doorway. I got Dad into the passenger seat, and he just stared down at his hands. They were still shaking. I sat in the driver's seat for a minute trying to figure out what to do next. Then I remembered the shelter counselor had given me her direct number. I called her and explained what just happened. She didn't waste time with questions. She said she could arrange a one-night motel voucher through an emergency fund. She gave me the address and said to ask for the manager. I thanked her and hung up. Dad hadn't moved. He was still looking at his hands like they belonged to someone else. I started the car and drove to the motel. It took 20 minutes. Dad didn't speak the whole way. The weight of being the only thing between him and complete breakdown sat on my chest like a rock. The motel was called the Sunset Inn, even though there was no sunset view anywhere, just a parking lot and a highway. The manager gave us the key to room 107 without much conversation. The room smelled like old cigarettes and cleaning spray. There were 2 beds with brown covers, and a desk by the window with a scratched surface. I spread everything out on that desk. Dad's discharge papers from Palmer, my birth certificate that I'd grabbed from my room before they kicked me out, screenshots of the texts from Mom and Mark, the bank notification about my drained account. I lined it all up in rows. It wasn't much, but organizing it made me feel slightly less like I was drowning. I took pictures of everything with my phone. Then I sat on the edge of the bed and called the number on the bank notification. The fraud department put me on hold for 15 minutes. Finally, someone picked up. I explained the situation. The representative said my college savings account was closed yesterday morning. All the funds got transferred to an account I didn't have access to. She said I would need to file a police report. I would also need documentation proving the money was mine. When I asked how to prove that when I'm homeless and barely holding it together, her voice got quieter. She said she understood this was hard, but those were the requirements. She gave me a case number and said to call back once I had the police report. I wrote the number down on the motel notepad. My hand was shaking. Dad spoke for the first time since we left the house. He said when he enlisted, he set up something called an allotment. His combat pay would go directly to support his family. He didn't understand all the technical details of how it worked. He just wanted to make sure we would be taken care of if anything happened to him. His voice had this guilt in it that made my throat tight. He said he thought that money was going to me all these years. For my future. For college. I told him I never saw any of it. He put his face in his hands. Something broke in me watching that. This man who served his country and got locked away and lost 12 years with his son, feeling guilty because he tried to take care of me, and it got stolen. I wanted to say something to make it better, but there weren't any words for this. I just sat next to him on the bed.